So before I even get started with this review, I have to start things on a bit more of a serious note. The human bag of fecal excrement Greg Abbott is trying to make allowing a transgender child to transition listed as child abuse under Texas state law. He's also trying to force teachers and other mandated reporters to rat out students and report their parents for child abuse. Given the fact that I work at
Name and address withheld,
I highly recommend donating to the Transgender Education Network of Texas. They're in really real need of help right now, and I would greatly appreciate if anyone who can could donate to them. Also, I know that I only have 1,000 subscribers, but it would just be a crying shame if for some magical reason the hashtag Greg Abbott fucks donkeys started appearing all over Twitter for no apparent reason. Wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't that be wacky? Anyways, on to the review. So you might have noticed that I changed my profile picture to one of the most wholesome things on the entire internet, and that's because the next 6 to 8 reviews are going to be on fembots. For one, because I love them, and for two, because someone questioned my manhood for owning a transformer that's the color pink, unironically. So in an effort to own the libs, unlike Ben Shrimp Dick wanna fuck my busty sister Shapiro, I figured why not just review every girly bot on the entire market, or at least the ones that I currently own. Now, I feel that RID 2015 was a series that had a lot of potential that it just didn't live up to in execution. As a sequel to Transformers Prime, having a show about Bumblebee becoming a rookie street cop after the war and getting banished from the planet by a corrupt, newly established, unelected Cybertronian government with a newbie police cadet and an overcocky little dipshit who they forgot they arrested, being forced to re-arrest 220 Decepticons who escaped a maximum security prison vessel and are just fucking everything up on Earth. Oh my god. It sounded like such a cool concept to tell about what happened during the recovery from the war and how much of an absolute shit show it must have been for Bumblebee of all the possible bots on the planet to reorchestrate an entire fucking planet. This guy is the same person who killed fucking Megatron. Now, Cadet Strongarm was a cop who tagged along for the ride and made the whole series into a super fun and wholesome buddy cop dramedy concept that could have been done so much better if everyone's aunt didn't bitch about a show being too nuanced for their one-day-old to understand. After all, it's not like there were any other kid shows based around little kid Transformer concepts. No! And of course, this is why when the toy line came out, the Karens came marching in again, complaining about little Jimmy being exposed to Transformers figures that took more than 3 steps to transform. You know the ones. The Karens that complain about their cog breaking, despite the fact that the whole purpose of the thing is to break apart in the weapons. But through the cheaply painted and sometimes overly simplistic toys came some absolute gems that I feel did not get the recognition that they deserve. Steeljaw, Thunderhoof, Bisque, and finally there was that one underrated gem that I wanted for years that was actually reasonably easy and inexpensive to find, but I wound up skipping out on because I still think I was going through the whole ew, kids toys, I'm an adult collector phase of my miserable human existence. But sometimes, as I learned, simplicity is bliss, and RID 2015 Strongarm is a living, breathing testament to that philosophy. Strongarm turns into a big burly police-style SUV or pickup truck. The thing that took me by surprise was just how big this truck actually is. It scales insanely well with other car formers in Chug, and that makes me so goddamn happy. It's the literal perfect fit for any car former deluxe on the Chug market. She actually does kind of an inverse bulkhead and actually shrinks down and becomes a heavy-set, strong, bad bitch, and I love her for it. But more about the truck. I would love to talk about the windshield. It's painted. It isn't clear plastic. These bastards were doing this in 2015, so anyone who thinks clear plastic's the only way we can have windshields, nope, you're absolutely fucking wrong. Now when you pick this thing up, it is going to be really light in proportion to the size because there's a ton of hollowness under the figure. But A, the gun can store under it because of all that dead space, and 2, I would much rather have a hollow bottom of the vehicle mode than have it have a ton of underkibble with basically no room to move. Now, there is a part of the vehicle mode that feels incomplete on the other hand. The paint is so dull and minimal, and all it would have taken to fix this is just taking a black Sharpie and outlining between the blue and white to make it a whole different figure. It really shows that RID 2015 could have been a magnificent toy line if they just had the guts to add one or two extra finishing details on their figures. The taillights, headlights, truck grille, and bumper all desperately needed paint, and it wouldn't have taken them anything to do so. The transformation on this figure is actually a ton of fun to do on the other hand. The only finicky part that I don't like are the fact that the doors have to be wedged in between these very thin plastic walls of the figure, and you have to bend and stretch the plastic a lot to do this. I love the way the two halves of the truck grille fold up into fists instead of just having her arms hang out under the vehicle like her feet. I think the part of this figure that I love the most about the transformation is the fact that parts of her vehicle mode incorporate into the robot mode in a seamless and clever way. The truck grille are her fists, the door wings are the sides of the truck, the feet are hidden inside of the legs, and the legs form the bed of the truck. And everything tucks away in a way that is so simple and neat. Strongarm's robot mode is a dynamite-ass attempt at the character. I love the design of her head sculpt so much. It's like a mix of Star Convoy Optimus Prime and a female Ultra Magnus that manages to balance her femininity and tough physique in a perfect balancing act that just fucking nails it. From the yellow painted royal crown to her gorgeously painted baby blue eyes with sculpted in pupils? That's what I'm talking about! I wish her chest was painted a little bit closer to the show, but I could have spent like $50 on getting the Takara version if I wanted her to be literal perfection. Her fists do suffer from a bad case of Henkei Astro Train syndrome, where her fists are just the shell of her vehicle mode, so posing or holding anything can look a little bit awkward on the surface level. Now the Autobot badge is the coolest damn thing on earth, because if you scanned her back when the RID 2015 game was out back in the day, you could literally download her into the mobile game as a playable character.
Whoa! It's Epic Gamer Hours!
I'm sorry, but can we please go back to this cool-ass gimmick? You can literally fix all of the problems in Earth Wars if you brought back this one simple gimmick. Scan the character, get the character. Boom! No more lottery chances of trying to get the character after 50 attempts of trying to purchase it. On the other hand, Strongarm features an adequate number of joints for the time. It's missing wrist rotation and ankle tilt, but that isn't anything to hate about a figure that came out 7 years ago. The technology at the time was much more limited, and her posability is still adequate enough to do some really good pointing and shooting poses. The gun's a bit of a weird story, speak of the devil. It does have blast effects, but it's painted like crayon wax and it's permanently sculpted into the gun for some reason. What a weird ass decision. At the end of the day, RID 2015 Strongarm is one of those greats that people will probably ignore because she came from a show that got a lot of hate. But I actually gave the show a second chance recently, and it isn't as bad as I remember it being. Sure, it wasn't great, but it was at least a fun and enjoyable show, and I think that in this cynical shit show that we call life, all we need is just something fun and enjoyable to either point and laugh at or genuinely unironically enjoy. The point is that she isn't perfect, but she makes me happy, and I would highly recommend seeking her out if you get the chance.
Remember, kids, it's your civic duty to go and post the hashtag Greg Abbott fucks donkeys. Please don't post it on YouTube so my channel doesn't get zonked.